And we're live.
And we're live. All right. How you doing, Earlene?
I am excellent. How are you?
I'm great. I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to go live on Instagram at the same time. But so a good day today?
Yeah, it was a good day. Lots of activity, lots of cool stuff going on today. Have another organization about ready to help them do another hybrid meeting come middle of August. And
Awesome.
so let's see. I made it to the Instagram place.
Oh, I see that you joined. Yay, I'm waving at you.
And I requested to join, send the request. I see that you joined. Yeah, I'm waving at you.
All right, do I have to turn my thing off too?
Except for I just broke it.
All right. All right. So I didn't get to play golf today because it's really bloody hot here. Oh, okay. I'm doing a request. I'm going live with you. Um, but so I didn't play golf today because I'm like, okay, and I was out for a walk at the same time that we were gonna be playing golf. Hold on, I gotta turn this off. Sorry, I'm still. I should figure this out. Okay, so
What's weird is it tends to make the sound come through for you, even though I mute you. So I don't know how well this doing them both thing is working,
okay,
but
let me see if this. Okay, I turned my volume off, so we should be better.
and I'm thinking my volume's off too, but
Okay,
we'll
all right.
find out.
Yeah, so I got to remember that. Anyway, so um, I I was late to my walk because I'm doing this 10,000 steps every day, and
Right.
uh, so I was late because of all these things that I was trying to get done this morning, and so it ended up being like 11 o'clock, which is usually the time we tee off. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to go and see how hot it really is. And then my sister called me while I was walking, and I'm like, yeah, it's really pretty hot. So, but anyway, didn't get golf in today, but did get a walk in, and it's not it's not insufferable, but it's a little warm.
Yeah. Well, actually, as you talk about your day, I'm reminded of this happened to be today was my I got the Grandma Distract Xander Day, where Robin and the girls are flying to Sacramento, and so in an effort to not have total meltdown with the 3-year-old boy who got left behind, I last night I had offered to take him for donuts on the way to school, and he wanted nothing to do with it. No, I want mommy to take me to school. And but then shortly thereafter he ended up talking about his headache, and he ended up throwing up. So the boy didn't end up going to school today after all. But this morning he gets up and he's feeling better, and he's enjoying the day. And so he's saying, I want to go somewhere with somebody. And I said, well, you can go somewhere with me. Where do you want to go? I want to go for donuts. It's like, okay, I will take you for donuts. So Xander and I went out for donuts, and the donut place is like right near the beach. And initially I was going to go and just go down to the beach. Then I just said, I'll just take him home after we sat and ate donuts, and he drank his alligator. And for those of you who have not had an alligator, we live in Florida, and Xander has alligators frequently. They're also, for the rest of the world, probably known as Gatorades, but for Xander, it's an alligator. And so anyway, it's always fun as you've got the 3-year-old who wants an alligator and to drink, and it's like, oh, okay, we'll get you an alligator. And so I'm sure he entertained the entire donut place as he was asking for his alligator this morning. But it's fun, and some of the one lady with a young child was enjoying that. I started on my way home, and he says, I'm gonna go to the beach. I said, good idea. So I turned around, went over to the parking lot right near where I was, and we parked, and there's a playground there. He got out and played on the playground. We went down to the beach for a little while, and then we came back home. He eventually fell asleep, took a really long nap, because he's definitely not feeling up to normal, but we were not vomiting all day, so it was not a big deal.
That's always a good thing. So I'm giving a shout out to Spirit Artist Studios, who's following us on Instagram. So welcome.
Oh, well
Um,
then, hey Linda, that's
so
who
yeah.
Spirit Artist
All right.
audience is. So
All right, Linda,
yeah.
great to see you. Okay, so I wanted to, I don't know, I just tried to jot down a couple of notes, like what could we talk about tonight? Um, so I wanted to just presence what I'm finding and just figure out what, like, whether you're finding it too. It seems to me that, okay, so we've been like, COVID compounded for so long, and I'm thinking that people are like, okay, I'm out. I'm out. Like, I can go somewhere. And so I'm like, I can't find anybody. Like, the people are like, you go to these meetings and no one's there. And I think that people are, um, they're taking, they're on vacation or they're taking the time off because, school starts incredibly early, right? Mid August or something. So they're like, okay,
Mhm.
we've got this time and we're going to go do it. And so I was starting to like, okay, now I got to work harder because I can't find anybody to talk to. Excuse me. And then I thought, okay, like I can't beat them, join them. Like so, I'm okay. I'm just gonna chill out and enjoy, and I'm gonna work on some projects that have been sitting on the sidelines, and not worry about not interacting and not having people to talk to. Because great, if you're chilling and you're having a good time and you're vacationing, more power to you. I love it. Have you experienced any of that, Earlene?
Yeah, I think there are a number of people who finally decided I'm definitely ready to take some vacation time, and especially those families with kids with school starting up here really soon. Definitely, I think that there's some of that going on. I know in Robin's case, the reason she went back to Sacramento happened actually to be a work-related thing. Her because we moved here from California. Sacramento is where her home office still is, and her boss wanted her to come back there for a little while. So she used that as the excuse to take along the two kids who had an opportunity to reconnect with some friends, some of
Yeah.
which they didn't really get a chance to say goodbye to before they left. But
Yeah.
again, it is, and this summer has been a lot of focus for us on getting back into life and doing fun things. The kids this summer, there was surf camp and there was horse camp, and next week Harper's at some other camp with her bestie in Sacramento. And so a lot of things, and I think especially those families with kids, this has been a really, really tough
Yeah.
year.
It really has.
And so there is a lot of energy, I think, being put into helping to overcome a lot of those challenges that have gone on through the year as well.
Yeah, and more power to him, man. I mean, I can't imagine what it has been like for any parents with okay, kids are in school, I'm at a job, or I'm in an office, or I'm not at home, and all of a sudden we're all at home. All right, and you got to figure out how do you split up your space and how you split up your time and how you work from home and how you take care of your kids. And I can't even imagine what that would have been like. So more power to all these people. Like, go take some time and just chill and go to the beach with your kids or go someplace where the kids can
Mhm.
have a good time and you can have a good time and you're not on top of each other, harping on each other for homework and stress of job and all of that. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. I'm not a bit. It's funny. My sister had invited me to go on this vacation thing with her, which wasn't really what I wanted to do, and I don't really take a lot of vacations. And I was thinking about it, and I live a great life. I like so to me, I don't really need to fly anywhere or go anywhere to go on vacation. But I'm like no, but I do think I'm going to take. I don't know if it'll be a week, but I do think I'm going to take some time between now and the end of August, and just play some more golf or just chill or
Mhm.
because we've all been running pretty hard, and and as my coach said to me when I had a meeting with her earlier, she's like, if you can't beat them, join them. Like so, they're telling you there's nothing to do, go chill. So I'm gonna do a little chill, and then I've got a couple, like I said, I got a couple of projects that I'm working on. So I'm going to try to deeply dive into them. I will say one other thing. I was really hoping. So my podcast, the Breakaway Entrepreneur Podcast, has been or is being rebranded. The new brand comes out, Breakthrough Your Profit Ceiling, on Monday, and I was really hoping that I had a new poster to do like a little sneak preview of what the new brand was going to be, and it was supposed to be delivered yesterday, and then it was supposed to be delivered today, and now it's going to be delivered Monday, so I don't know when it's going to be delivered, but I was kind of hoping to do a little sneak preview of like, this is what the new podcast look and feel is going to be like, but you'll have to wait until next week or whenever the damn poster shows up. So
and so what we get is a little bit more suspense now that we know it's coming. And so the question is, it's kind of the where's Waldo moment at that point in time. Where do you show up that you get to see the new poster for the first time?
yeah, exactly. Because I know everyone's just dying to see it, right? Because that's what their lives are all about. My friggin' poster. Okay, so have you been watching any of the Olympics?
I've caught a little bit of the Olympics.
Yeah, that's right. You don't have like TV.
Yeah, although I did learn that one of our TVs, I do have the ability to watch a little bit of the Olympics. But it's interesting because even through social media, I got the opportunity to be aware of Simone Biles. And given that I have a household of gymnasts, she definitely is an idol for the kids. And so it's been an opportunity to go back and do a little following on what's going on with her. And so, yeah, I've seen some of the Olympics. I haven't looked recently at, I always usually like to, where are we at in the medals and all of that kind of good stuff, just to keep track of how we're doing. Kind of the pride of the country. Are we showing up like we should or like we desire to, and some of those kind of things. But, I have, as a result of looking and following the Simone Biles story, that has caused me a little bit of contemplation. And I think that, she's a great example of one who is carrying the expectations of the world that's put her in that place. And as you look at that, the question is how do we do that in our day-to-day lives with our business and hearing the expectations of others? And so I think that her story is very relevant to all of us in business and all of us in life. It's a lot of times we put ourselves in that place of the pressure of everyone else and what they're trying to put on us, that we lose sight of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we, as a result, we go through and I know that that's been a huge thing for a lot of kids. A lot of, especially COVID has probably brought about a lot more of the mental challenges and other things, but I think on many levels been a challenge for a long time. And I think that it's a really good example of how that happens to many of us lots of times.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know why I always end up with shameless plugs, but I always do. And they're shameless, so I'm going to do it anyway. So I've been fascinated by this, the Olympics, because I love the Olympics. And I don't watch it day and night, but I watch the evening and you get all the highlights. Well, I have a dear friend who Jim Kaspari, who published a book called Gold Medal Marketing Strategies, gold, whatever it's called. Anyway, and so I was thinking, because he just published the book right before the Olympics, and so I called him up and I'm like, "Do you want to do a podcast episode?" So I interviewed him this week, and it's going to be next week's episode. Anyway, that notwithstanding, when I thought about, okay, I'm going to interview this guy who's got this book that he interviewed a bunch of Olympic athletes, and then he wove their stories into his business principles in essence. So in preparation for that interview, I started to think, what lessons are we learning from the Olympics? And this is before the Simone Biles thing happened.
Right.
And then the very next morning, the whole Simone Biles thing hit. And clearly that's one of the lessons that we talk about. But I want to follow on to what you were saying and maybe expand it a little bit more, because to me the lesson from the Simone Biles, we're only days into it, so who knows what the lesson's going to be, but so
Mhm.
far is the mental aspect of it is so much of the game. And being
Mhm.
the lousy, horrible, lousy golfer that I am, I know that sports are mental, and I watch a lot of golf and I see great golfers fall apart because of the mental. But as you were saying, or I was hearing you saying, and it made me think, like in business, I talk about the entrepreneurial mindset on this podcast, but I don't talk about, and we don't necessarily talk that much about the mental part of it, like not the mindset of leadership and persistence, and
Right.
but and I talk about overcoming challenge and all that, but we don't, in this country, whether it's sports or business, we don't really talk about the mental challenges of
Mhm.
what we do. And like, to me, I want to talk a little bit about like the mental game of being an entrepreneur, because there are days where like there's no money coming in and you got bills to pay, or you're getting to that next level and then you're not getting to that. I mean, it's
Mhm.
all stages of it. But there are some mental challenges that we all have.
Right.
And I think being an entrepreneur is a lonely place to be sometimes.
Mhm.
And we don't really talk about the mental, not the, like I said, not the mindset, but the
No,
mental part of being an
it,
entrepreneur.
yeah, the mental and the emotional. I actually, that's an interesting point because I was in a meeting with a friend of mine earlier this week who was very authentic about and transparent about just that point, and how as things they she wants to do and all. And what she continues to get is all the people who are wanting money and wanting, they want to sell her stuff, and met with her earlier today. And the only reason, so what she does is amazing. She's an amazing lady. There are so many people she has helped tremendously, but she is mentally tired,
Yeah.
mentally frustrated. She's hired some folks to do some Facebook advertising that are just not doing the stuff they need to do. And so it's all of those challenges. And I think that it's real easy to stay in that place and carry that burden all by yourself.
Yeah.
She was one who opened up. So I I had the conversation. The question was, so how much, are you going to bill me for this? And I said, no, all I want right now is to be your friend. I don't want to bill you. I want to champion you. I want to celebrate you. I want to be able to support you, encourage you. And yeah, I did give her some resources that she was truly desiring as well, but it wasn't. And so I think that, in that is a message for all of us is those moments when you're up against that mental frustrated, I'm tired, I don't want to give up, but I'm not feeling like this is working. And so it's taking that moment to be able to speak up and finding those people who you can have that conversation with, say, I am just tired, I am burnt out, I am frustrated, I have spent way too much money on this to, she spent thousands of dollars, got effectively like three people to a free webinar, and only one that was maybe even close to qualified for a buyer. And because the team who said they could do all the work for her just didn't do it. And so it was, it's that you have those points and you think you've made the very best decision you possibly could, and as a result of making that decision, you're not getting the results. So it's, where do I turn?
Yeah.
And so in those moments, do you have that person? You can have that conversation of, hey, I just need somebody to build me up,
Yeah.
somebody to help give me new perspective, new ideas, or whatever. And so I think that the lesson out of that, and I think Simone Biles is a great example of that from an athletic standpoint, but that's an example of what happens to all of us at different points along the way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. You made me think of two things. Uh, One, for me, so I'm a driver, like drive. Uh, my my fault is not that I'm like sitting on the couch. Like my fault is I'm working too hard and not smart sometimes.
Hmm.
So one of my thoughts from what you're saying is sometimes you just got to say, I'm just taking a break. And I'm not
Hmm.
very comfortable with that because I've said before, like I'm more comfortable running, even though I don't know where I'm running to, than I am sitting on the couch contemplating where I should run. And I'm good at planning and all of that, but when it comes down to those times, I'm much better running than I am sitting down and just chilling out and figuring it out. So that's a lesson that I'm learning and I'm trying to do actually right now. The other thing I want to go back a little bit to Simone Biles in that situation. One of the lessons that I talked about in the podcast that I saw from that is her incredible courage
Hmm.
to step aside
Yeah.
as a leader
Hmm.
and say, I'm not like everyone's like Simone Biles going to win. Like um,
Hmm.
Sumi Lee or whatever, she's never going to win the all around, which she did if
Hmm.
Simone Biles was there. Um, there's the individual events, which these people were never, vault, they were never going to win. Who knows what they're going to do, but they never had a chance with Simone. But Simone said, look, I'm not in a place where I can do this, and it's best for me to step aside as the leader of the team
Hmm.
and letting them do what they do. And I commend her for that
Right.
because you see the haters and they're like, oh, they're sponsors and she should do this and she's a quitter. And no, you're not a quitter when you say, I don't have what I need to do to lead the team, so I'm going to lead the team, but I'm not going to lead the team on the floor. I'm going to lead the team from the stands.
Right.
And I just
And
I give her great kudos for her courage and wisdom
mhm.
to do that, because it must have been a really hard decision to make.
I absolutely agree. And I know that, and I think the pressure can be really easy to fall in the trap of feeling like, because of all of these things, I need to. But I at one point heard, one of her statements is that where I'm at, I'm going to hurt the team more by competing than I'm
Yeah,
going to do. And that is absolutely, especially, she doesn't have anything to prove in honesty.
that's
She,
right.
if you look at her track record, you look at what she's achieved, she has nothing to prove. And so where she can, in that moment, say, I know the best thing I can do for my team is to step out of the way and let them go do what they do. That's a great message for all of us to look at and learn as well. In those moments where maybe we aren't the best person to
That's right.
be on the floor,
Yeah. Let somebody else shine.
be the leader and build those others up, that puts them in that place where they are able to succeed, to levels that they would never have had you not encouraged them as a leader. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great point. And one of the things that you said that I was reminded of, and I think you and I had this conversation, I don't know, recently, is about sharpening your own saw, which is the point about, the more that you run hard and fast and forget to take those rest breaks, which
Yeah.
I thought about earlier, and, even taking a little time off in August. That's the re-energize, that's the get the mental focus back. That's all of those other things, which goes back into it. It's going to take you twice as long to saw down the tree if you're using a dull, or even more if you're using a dull knife or a dull saw. And so where you use those times to take that mental break, take that time, do something different, sit down and take a rest break, go out for a random walk, or, go up in the mountains and look at the streams, or whatever kinds of things re-energize and fuel you, then that's going to bring you back stronger. And you're going to have that sharper saw that is going to then bring you even faster forward.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, we don't know. We're right in the middle of it. But I, you know, Simone Biles is already known as the greatest of all time, right? So,
Mhm.
it'll be interesting. But I'll submit to you right now. I think that in the big picture, she will be known as much for her courage to do what she did um, this Olympics as she will be for being the greatest gymnast of all time. Two things. One is she could really seriously hurt herself if she gets the swirlies or whatever the squeezies or
Right.
whatever, which you can't figure out where she is. So that. But the other thing is, I saw really briefly on the news that she had um, I don't know, it was Instagram or whatever, but she had put something out there that said, "Thank you for all the support. I never really realized that I could do any. I was anything but a gymnast." And I'm paraphrasing horribly, but she said something about like, I'm realizing that, you know, I'm more than just a gymnast, and
Mhm.
and I think that these people who dedicate their whole lives, which she obviously has, to be what she's done, they don't realize that they're anything but a gymnast. But like,
Yeah.
this could be her greatest moment,
Mhm.
and it's not a gold. She's not getting a gold medal for it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just,
Well, she's getting a different gold medal for it.
exactly. My point exactly. So, anyway, I don't want to go on and on about it, but I just thought it was. I don't know. Like I said, I was doing this podcast, and I was just, and then all of a sudden this happened, and I'm like, I'm starting to think about this stuff. So, anyway, I thought that was really cool, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Um, but I know I'll be spending my weekend watching quite a bit of the Olympics just because I love to do that.
Yeah. Well, now that I figured out that I do have a place that I can watch some of the Olympics, I'll probably I was watching the other night for quite a while, so I'll probably find some time to go do that as well. So because I
Absolutely.
I do love the Olympics, and I it there is such a different to think about what every person who has made it to the Olympics has been through, the mental, the physical, the emotional strength
Yep.
that got them to that place. I and I didn't get the opportunity this year to watch the entrance as they all come marching in at the
Oh yeah.
beginning, and I
The
don't
opening
even know
ceremonies.
what that. Yeah. But that always brings tears to my eyes just to see the excitement and the energy and the team camaraderie,
You missed the guy with the oil. Come on.
oh no.
Well, you could probably Google it. And I
Oh,
think he like won. I don't know. I saw he won a medal, or maybe he didn't. But anyway, he was. It was like he was covered with um, oil, and he was, I don't know, Tanisha, whatever. I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody, but he was shirtless and oiled up and looking good.
well, okay. I guess I missed that, but
Hey, this
I
is
guess,
Fun Friday foolery. We got to add a little bit of something that's.
yeah, you wouldn't want to leave out the foolery part of it, right?
I want to leave out the shirtless, oiled up guy at the Olympics. Come on.
How very true. Yeah. So hey, Miss B,
Look at you. Got all your besties out here. All right. Okay. I
I do
want to.
have my besties.
I know I don't have any of my besties. They must be sleeping or something. Maybe they're watching the Olympics. All right. I have one other thing I want to talk about. It really isn't a lot of fun Friday ish, but I want to bring it up because it's kind of something that's going on for me this week. So you know that like I'm trying to figure out how I can say this in a way that's not provocative and leading, and then I'd leave you hanging without telling you what's going on. But there's this piece of what has happened in my past, and I have been challenged to deal with some of that. Um, and so my part of what I'm doing, and it's not a deeply emotional thing. It's really how I deal with it in my business world. But I want to talk a little bit about dealing with some baggage, and
Mm.
um, so I'm planning this episode where, so I think it's September 6th because I'm looking at my, as podcasters, we put together a production schedule, and that's where it's going to fit in. But I was working on it today, just working through some some baggage, but not like major league stuff. It's how you handle things that have happened in your career, or
Mhm.
maybe you worked for this worked in this job, and then you went to a totally different industry. Like how you deal with those things. Not that anyone like ever really asks, but I was dealing with some of that today, of like how you weave into your story. And for me, it's how do I take this interesting part of my life and weave it into the story that shows how much that has made me a better coach. So
Mhm.
I'm not saying this very well, but not so much dealing with um, baggage, but it is some of that. But how you use it to come front and forward with how it has made you a better X, whatever you are.
Yeah.
So I'm doing some of that, and like I said, I'm just it has made me better, and now I'm just trying to figure out how I articulate that so that more people can take some of the things that have happened, good, bad, whatever, in their careers or their business, and turn it into a story that will resonate with their clients and prospects.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the things that we always have to remember is that throughout our life we have a story. Our life is a journey that has many stories, and not all pieces of that story is relevant to everybody, but there are some of those things that clearly are going to be relevant, or are things that help certain people be able to deal with the adversity maybe that comes up in their own life. As I think about it, as you were talking, some of it is taking inventory on those things, and it's capturing, yeah, there's some challenges, but what are the gold nuggets? What are the lessons that came out of that? And what are all of those things that that adversity makes you grateful for, as opposed to carrying along the weight of what has happened, but instead allowing the release of that weight through gratitude for this thing that now has made you better in this area. You've seen, and I'm suspecting I have an idea of what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure we probably had this conversation in the past as far as what
Over
it
some
is.
wine, I'm sure.
And so I have no doubt that I know, but it's, I think that in that there were many lessons that brought good learning, but then there were many things that as a result of that experience that also gave you the learning of those things that you saw that you don't want in yourself,
Yeah. Okay,
that you.
okay, so I want to add one other thing to what you're saying. So I'm right on board. Like identify it and then deal with it like in your in your world.
Mhm.
But what I'm working on, which is why I said there's going to be an episode most likely September 6th on my podcast, which is to take I got a challenge, I work on the challenge, then how do I take that and use that story to inspire other people or to communicate that with other people, because we tend to like, okay, we have a challenge and we work through our challenge and then it just stays within us. But I'm
Yeah.
talking about taking that, which is it is challenging to me, and there is some risk associated with me going public with this, but I'm willing to do that. Um, but to go out and publicly talk about that, whether it's with one client or a webinar or a video that you do or whatever, or a podcast like I'm going to do, but to take it to that next level of communicating that story, um, so that others can, as you said, identify with it and then maybe do that in their own lives or their own businesses
Yeah,
or
and
their
I'm
own whatever.
and part of the thing that I think that I've found in the past is there are some of those examples that are really important and relevant for certain clients, and they have no basis for somebody else. And so it's that being prepared with that lesson for the person that shows up that happens to be the right person. And so knowing that not everyone, but you've got a similar adversity that starts coming up or something that your story can relate, and being able to take and say, I've been through this part of this journey and I came out stronger on the other side. And through that, these are the lessons I learned that has made me better. And so then it's going back and asking the question of the individual of what is it in their situation that they can start finding the little silver lining in their situation, that they can start taking away the gold nuggets of learning. And so it's application of yours and taking them through the application within their own story.
Absolutely. Hey, I got to give a shout out. I don't think this is possible or real, but um, Samantha Batari just joined, and I think she just freaking had a baby. And I think that baby is my great niece. So a shout out to Samantha if that's really you out there. And then Ann Danielle also joined, so waving at you.
Yeah, Ann and I go way back, and so she was in one of my past careers and worked with her, and so it's very cool to see you out here, Ann, as well.
Oh, unbelievable. I'm not sure that's really Samantha, but if it is, hey, shout out to you, babe. There's nothing harder than having a baby, I would think. I've never had one, but as being an entrepreneur for my entire life, well, not my entire life, but for a very long time, I've struggled and done some really great things, but I've never had a baby, which is the biggest, most amazing thing in the whole world. So, shout out to anybody, all the moms out there, but especially the newest mom that I know.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, let's see. On here, there's at least, besides myself, there's at least three moms that I know of.
Yeah, well, okay. I'm the odd woman out here, but that's
No, you're not.
okay.
You're not the odd one. You've got at least a little bit of company out there.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So, super exciting. What are we gonna do this weekend? Like anything, like super fun, super exciting? What's going on with you this weekend, Arlene?
That's a great question. And I don't really have that answer. What I know is that there are two boys that don't have three girls to worry about. And when there are the two boys that don't have the three girls to worry about, that means that I don't have two boys and three girls to worry about. And so I'm probably going to, at some point, I think I'm definitely going to take a trip to the beach and just hang out down by the water for a little while all by myself and a nice book. Let's see, I'm trying to think if I have anything very specific, and I can't say that I have anything specific, but that's actually can be a good thing too.
Yeah, that's actually better than anything. I myself, so I've got some gardening to do, but I went out to the garden today and I have this big, huge bowl of, I don't know, there's cucumbers out of my ears. So I'm making chilled cucumber soup and
Mm.
zucchini, so zucchini bread. And then my tomatoes are starting to come in, and I've got peppers and I've got eggplant. And so I will have like the weekend of working in the yard and doing that kind of thing. But I will also be like cooking or baking, or I don't know, just I'm eating out of the garden. I've told you this like the last three
Yeah.
weeks we've been on here. I don't know the last time I ate a piece of protein except for some salmon, because I'm like eating out of the garden. I got zucchini pancakes and zucchini waffles and everything. So anyway, it's going to be a weekend of eating off the land, and
Nice.
I got a little work to do. Like I said, I'm working on some quizzes and some cool new marketing things, and so it's going to be a super fun. Um, I won't say super fun. I'll say super chill weekend, because
Yeah.
that's what this time of year is about. Especially since no one's out there working, so we're gonna chill out along with them.
Yeah. Well, and I definitely have a couple things I'm working on that I'm pretty excited about as well. So
I know. So
a
we will
couple of
talk
those
about that.
things.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that next week. Or let's see, Wednesday, 11 o'clock Pacific time. We are on Clubhouse. Monday at noon Pacific time, we're going to be doing the break room Zoom party. So come join us out on Zoom and shoot, just have a fabulous evening and a fabulous weekend. And we'll be back here next Friday. I don't know whether it'll be 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, but it'll be around the same time. And we'll just be shooting the shit, drinking some wine, and talking smack, and hopefully having a good time.
Absolutely.
All right, Earlene, thanks so much for joining me again tonight.
Oh, thank you. It's always fun.
All right, we'll talk to you on Monday and on Wednesday and on Friday.
Perfect.
All right, thanks you all for joining us. All the
Yeah.
joining on Instagram, we appreciate you, and hopefully we'll see you back here next week. See ya.
Bye.